1 Michelin train, 1 car, 1 crash, 1 derailment, and 1 death. This is the story of the 2015 Oxnard train derailment. The accident happened along the coastline owned by the Union Pacific Railroad, UP for short. This is a picture of the railroad parallel to the east of accident. On Tuesday, February 14th, in the pre-dawn hours, Michelin commuter train 102, operated by Amtrak, was en route from Las Vegas to California. The train consisted of a diesel of a cab car and many coaches and a diesel locomotive. As the train was approaching southern end, the local time, the driver noticed a truck on the tracks. It was parked there, and it was sideways, but it can't move. Then the driver slammed on the emergency brakes, but it was already too late. The train collided with the pickup truck that was a cargo utility trailer. The truck driver, the old who was unfamiliar with the area and was only charged at the time of the incident. He was turned to the east fifth of the East Avenue, but mistakenly turned onto the Union Pacific tracks, and the truck became largely a fate. The rest of the great crossing, the driver attempted to push the truck on the track, but he also started to call 911. But the state of his panic was the same point with the arrival of the train. He exited the truck, leaving the headlights and the driver opened the door based on the GPS data combined with the driver with a cell phone. About 12 minutes elapsed of the time the truck became launched on the track with the collision with the train. The train was led by a head and coach car. After striking the truck trailer, the train continued on through a great crossing. All four passengers are subsequently derailed and figured along to their sides. The locomotive did not derail. The locomotive at the back did not derail. The truck was pushed along and the track came to 130 feet. 130 feet. Each of the grey crossings. The south of the train made the train attached from the tracks again to the rest of the grey crossing. The British contained the debris from the collision that made it to a 1990 Toyota Camry, which stopped at the rail crossing near enough to crash. As a result of the crash, the train engineer was rushed to the hospital. He later died in hospital, and 32 passengers and crew members were injured. 12 passengers and 1 crew member had injuries. Described serious as community treatment at so many hospitals, like Community Wars Hospital, Lake Lewis Hospital, and Medical Center, St. Charles Medical Center, the George Pisa Valley Hospital, and Medical Center. The tunnel accident ran from the part of the crash. He said during the main accident where the river of the crash caused was related to taking to custody on my way. The Toyota driver was not injured. The National Transportation Safety Board launched an investigation into the accident, and a Togo team was attached to the scene. The train was tilting towards the face of the camera of the cab coach car. The cameras were recording the collisions up. The NTSB determined the probable cause of the crash was the truck mistakenly turning onto the right way due to the express floodgates and familiar with the area. The NTSB investigation found the crash was occurred nearby 24 hours after the truck driver Ramirez reported duty in Summit, Arizona. In 1675 hours, he began to travel Oxnard, well above the split limit of a commercial driver. The driver worked with a private company with the operating vehicle owned by the Thomas Magnet. The two companies share the same ownership and operation. After being off duty the day before, the driver went to at 5:51 a.m. on February 23rd at approximately 1:00 p.m. His employer dispatched courier Ramirez for the base of this selection Oxnard to Oxnard was 6 hours. However, it was actually 4 hours a day in Mexico, California. Due to his damage radio, which is the slogan truck. Initially, his truck was swapped by the automobile vehicle in Los Angeles, but actually the third time. The cab coach car and 3 coaches were filled with ECM. And then decided to cut energy in the collision. The car and purchase support of the response of Michigan's deadly 2005 Glendale train crash and 2008 Chatsworth train collision. The incident being investigated determined that the CEM elements, as crumble zones, were not outweighed the collisions. The investigation shortly declared that the wheel of the train pilot assembly, they are known as a snow plow or cow catcher, failed to distract the lady car during the crash. However, no major damage suggested that the pilot assembly itself, the wheels of the train, caused the derailment. The rail car interior has no loss of occupant survival space. The analysis determined that the primary cause of the injury was determined to be overturning rail cars and subsequent passengers and crew and hard interior surfaces. Immediately following the derailment, service was suspended for the sign accident. Originally, passengers with business between Oxnard and East Bear Station. Amtrak Pacific Surfliners and between Los Angeles and Gloria, the uses tracks were cancelled. Local roads of the scene of the accident, were closed. Service along the rails was restored by Wednesday afternoon. Of the first passenger for the crash at about 5:40 p.m. The train engineer, 62 years old, was critically injured and died 1 week later. Senior employee Amtrak, which was the contract at this time of his death. The assistant engineer was 42-year-old Amtrak job with Metrolink. Still died at Senator's Medical Center early on March 3rd. A resident of Homeland, California, she was a grandfather. The truck driver, Cruz Ramirez, 54, left the scene on foot following the accident, but was later taken to custody. About a mile away, according to his 40. The main truck was trying to summon help in the remote parts of the country about vehicles and with no go. He's not able to communicate with him since the only speaking Spanish. He was finally got police officers. He had his cell phone on to which his target so his son could explain to the officers what just happened to the train. He was booked on his position to a hit and run, $155 million bill. But processors later decided his life criminal charges against him, and he was released 2 days later. On February 23, 2016, Sharon Ramirez was charged with manslaughter. Charged by vehicle. He pleaded guilty to the charge on April 25, 2019. He was sentenced to life to spend 30 days in jail. In March 2015, Toyota's injured technical crash sent to the truck driver and his employees, Thomas American LLC. Metrolink announced on September 30, 2015, they were responded of use of the cab for at least a year. They were on the safety guards that stopped being a railroad locomotives were built the second locomotive each passenger of the cab car. Metrolink determined that all part assemblies of the cab car had been structurally attached on July 8, 2016. Metrolink Board approved $1 million to plan to repair the parts, make sure that manufacturers a few months later. Eventually, final part of the breach was warranted. One of the repairs was completed. The car was on to the Venus of the Grooves repair. The original probably was out in El Paso, the SR-34. It's long been groundbreaking in February 2025. But however, this was not the only time a train crashed in Oxnard. On Valentine's Day 2005, an Amtrak Surfliner crashed into a truck. Luckily, nobody was killed. Maybe I'll do a documentary on this in the future.